Hello, and welcome to the first review of March, where last year I delved into reviewing some of the Dragon Ball films. I rewatched Battle of Gods for the 10-year anniversary, which still holds up, and then I gave Resurrection F another go because that wasn't really the greatest film, from the Dragon Ball Renaissance that we've been living in. And the last one, well, not last one, there's still Superhero, but I did do a review for it, but I'm thinking I'm just going to do a brand new review for it at some point this year. But the next one to review is 2018's Dragon Ball Super Broly, the film that made Broly canon to the Dragon Ball timeline. So this isn't the first Broly film. Um, See, back in the Z days, there was these three non-canon Broly films, which I do already have on Blu-ray, which I'll be hopefully covering in May for my trilogy month. Um, so yeah, the first of them being Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan, Broly Second Coming, and the terrible Bio Broly. So I have watched all three of these previously. My cousin and I did a marathon of them years ago. So yeah, Dragon Ball Super Broly. As I said, it's the first. It's the movie that canonized Broly and changed his backstory, which I'm happy about because initially in the original Broly trilogy, the what set him off, what made him so angry was Goku, aka Kakarot, for crying. That's it. That's the only reason was because Goku kept crying, and that upset Broly, and that made him go on to the big, massive rampage that he did in those trilogies. Whereas in this, it is a revenge film, but more so towards King Vegeta for what he did. So, to back up, we're in the first half hour, we're treated to a flashback to the days of on Prince or Planet Vegeta before Frieza destroyed it. The film opens up with King Cold passing down the Cold Force to his son Frieza, played by Chris Ayres. Now, Chris Ayres is the voice of Frieza for this, and he is my voice of Frieza. I never grew up with Linda Young as Frieza in Dragon Ball, so I don't have that nostalgic towards her. But Chris Ayres was fantastic as Frieza. He literally embodied Frieza from the get go. You know, when he was brought on for Dragon Ball Kai, for Resurrection F, which is something I didn't mention in that video, this movie, and obviously Dragon Ball Super, and as well as, the games. And Chris Ayres was a fantastic voice of Frieza and my personal favorite. And every time I hear his Frieza, I get a little smile just thinking of Chris Ayres because he was a genuine good person, and I've never heard a bad story about Chris Ayres during conventions. Unlike with Chris Sabat, I've heard more good stories about Chris Sabat. The voice of Vegeta and Piccolo. But I've heard a lot of horror stories about beta male Sean Schemmel over the years than I've heard good. Um, and so, yeah, may Chris rest in peace. He is definitely sorely missed in the Dragon Ball community and just sorely missed in general. Because, as I said, I've heard nothing but great stories about him. So, yeah, then we jump to the royal incubation chamber where we see King Vegeta checking on his son, the prince. And then that's when he discovers baby Broly, who was put in there because of his latent power ability. Because back then, um, battle power or was the driving force of the Frieza Force. They cared about how strong you were, which Saiyans were pretty strong. They have this little hack called the Zenkai boost, where whenever they're beaten within an inch of their life, and they recover from that, they get stronger from that. So, but once the king hears of Broly's latent abilities, that is better than his son, who broke all the initial records. He shipped Broly off to a remote planetoid just because he was afraid of him. And once Broly's father, Paragus, finds out about this, he's none happy about it. So he steals a ship with another Saiyan and goes off in search of Broly. They crash land on Vampa. They're trapped there, and Paragus kills the other Saiyan in order to conserve food. Um, then it cuts to Bardock, Goku's father, coming back because Frieza has issued a Saiyan recall that he's going to announce something. We all know that this is because Frieza is scared of the legend of the Super Saiyan, which turns out to be true, that we find out during the Namek saga. Um, and he wants to blow up. He essentially blows up Vegeta, the planet, not the king. Well, the king's on there, but not the prince. The prince is off world. He doesn't go back. Um, and so Bardock, once he comes back from his time dealing, on a different planet, which we later learn in the Super manga was, I forget the name of the planet, but it was got to do with during the Granola arc in the Dragon Ball Super manga, um, and a lot of people aren't happy with this version of Bardock, because this is Dragon Ball minus Bardock. This is because Bardock's backstory and all that stuff was covered in a special, um, but it's not canon because apart from some character designs, Toriyama had nothing really to do with that. So a couple of years ago, he put out a little one-shot manga called Dragon Ball Minus, which also introduced us to Goku's mother, who we do see in this, Gine, and then the fans weren't too happy about how of the change from Bardock. They want him to be the strong, ruthless Saiyan warrior, and not what we've got. I personally don't care. I have seen Bardock, the father of Goku. I haven't read Dragon Ball Minus, but of course I've seen this bit of the movie, and I really don't care. It doesn't bother me. Um, so yeah, Bardock instantly figures out that Frieza is going to potentially blow up the planet because he's afraid of the legendary Super Saiyan. So himself and Gine steal a pod and send Goku to Earth. If it turns out that they were wrong, they were going to go and get him. Um, and here's my one problem with the film. I love this film through and through. It is my favorite Dragon Ball film, and in my personal opinion, the best Dragon Ball film. But once we see Goku being sent off, there's a lot that's happened off screen that we just don't see because then it just cuts to Frieza blowing up the planet with Bardock there. He's injured, his armor's been torn, and he's trying to fire a blast. We don't know anything between Bardock setting him off to then. We don't know. Um, it's assumed that Bardock, like in the original Bardock Father Goku short, went to try to convince Saiyans. That didn't happen, and he got into some fights, and that's how he was that scuffed because Bardock had to be scuffed for the destruction of Vegeta because that's how it appeared in the manga. That's my only gripe with the film. So then we fast forward into present day, not long after the Tournament of Power. Goku, Vegeta, Bulma, Bra, uh, Vegeta and Bulma's second child, um, Lord Beerus and Whis are vacationing. Goku and Vegeta are obviously training. And then they get word that the Dragon Balls that Bulma has been uh, saving has gone. They've been stolen, and then so they obviously go try and track it down because they're looking for the last ball because it's in the Arctic, the North Pole. Um, and then whilst all that's happening, cross-world. These two members of the Frieza Force, Chile and I'm blanking on his name. Um, but yeah, they land on Vampa. They find Paragus and Broly all grown up. Paragus is old now, and so they bring him to Frieza, and then Frieza is like, "Oh, strong Saiyans, huh? Let's go to Earth and let's test out Broly and let's get your revenge on the Prince Vegeta since he survived, not the King." And so they go to Earth. They land. Frieza gets the Dragon Balls, and then we get into the beautiful fight of Broly versus Vegeta, and then Broly versus Goku, and then Gogeta versus Broly. And I forget who's the main guy who worked on this style because it's completely different from the style that we've been getting for the past uh, several years. It's a completely new art style, and it is beautiful. This movie, the animation and the art is just beautiful. I fucking love it. Um, this is my third time watching this film, and I'm still blown away by some shots and some slick moves of animation. Like obviously it's big budget. They have the budget to do all this compared to like a weekly episode. But still, it is so gorgeous, and I wish they would have stuck with this style more. Instead of moving on to the style that we got for superhero and now Dragon Ball Daima, which we'll be getting in fall of this year. But it is so gorgeous. The fight itself is something that I wish would keep happening. And what do I mean by that is, well, I believe in my Resurrection F video, I talked about how once we've seen Super Saiyan Blue, that's all they do. In every fight since then, it's jump straight to blue. There's no build up. In this fight, there's build up. It's Broly versus Vegeta in base form. Vegeta turns Super Saiyan. Paragus is surprised because he didn't. He thought it was just a legend, and Frieza's disappointed. And so then Broly, because he had his tail cut off, because if he went to Great Ape, he'd lose himself. Um, but he managed to be able to transform into the Great Ape without actually physically transforming, because you can tell by his eyes they change color. And so he's losing it as they're fighting, obviously. And then he starts to hold his own, be better than Super Saiyan, and that of course forces Vegeta to go into Super Saiyan God, which I love Super Saiyan God. I've said this a lot. I've seeing it again, I'm always going to be happy about it. We don't see enough of Super Saiyan God, and so they're fighting again. Broly's holding his own, becoming a bit better than Super Saiyan God, and that's when Goku steps in. And again, we go through Goku going base to Super Saiyan to Super Saiyan God, and then to Super Saiyan Blue. And that's what I want to see in fights in from Dragon Ball is the build up to going to the best, not just immediately jumping to it, because we know it's a massive power drain going from base to blue. It was stated in the Universe 6 tournament arc. That's why Vegeta lost to Hit. Again, with the whole time skip as well. But it's because when fighting Kaba, he just jumped straight to blue. And then when he was fighting Hit, he jumped straight to blue, which is a massive power drain. Instead of going from just base to God and then Super Saiyan God to Super Saiyan Blue, then there's not that much of a power drain on energy, and that's what I want to see. And I love that, and I love that. And then the funny thing that happens in this movie, and I love it. I fucking love it because Frieza does get his comeuppance in a way. Obviously, he's not dead. He doesn't die again. But um, Goku and Vegeta end up using instant transmission to where Piccolo is, and they literally fly right in front of Frieza, who at this point, killed Paragus in order to make Broly turn into a Super Saiyan. Um, which did happen. and so Goku and Vegeta leave, and they leave for an entire hour. And for that entire hour, Frieza is getting his shit kicked in by Broly, and it's just bravo. He got his comeuppance. He got his comeuppance for killing Paragus, but also for being a giant tyrant asshole. And so Vegeta and Goku, they tried to do the Metamorph fusion dance. They failed twice, and then on the third time, after an hour, they get it and they become Gogeta, since we have the Batara fusion of Vegito, which I prefer Vegito over Gogeta any day. And so they go back and they start fighting Broly. He becomes the legendary Super Saiyan with the green hair. And then it ends with Chile and Lemo. I now remember his name. Using the Dragon Balls. And this is actually another gripe that I have. When Shenlong, I'm going or Shenron in the dub. I'm always going to call it Shenlong for because that's how it is in manga and stuff. When Shenlong is summoned, he states that they have one wish, which isn't actually true because at this point, because of Dende, they actually have three wishes. But it's a common running theme where it's either you get three wishes, or you get two wishes, or you get one wish. It just depends on what's needed for the story. And so Chile wishes that Broly would be sent back to Vampa, which does happen, and then Chile and Lemon, they steal a aircraft from Frieza, and they go travel to Vampa to be with Broly, because they realize that Broly isn't a bad guy like Goku. He's just been forced by his father to do all these things. And then, the film ends with Goku using instant transmission to Vampa, giving them a bunch of supplies, and asking that he can come back and train Broly, which we do see in the superhero movie. They're on um, Lord Beerus' planet training, because if Broly can get a hold of his anger and doesn't lose it, he'll be one of the strongest fighters in Dragon Ball. He was able to go toe just in base form with the little help of Azoro. The Great Ape form. He was able to go toe to toe with Super Saiyan God, and Super Saiyan Blue. Imagine Broly as a Super Saiyan God or Super Saiyan Blue. He would be unstoppable. But yeah, I fucking love this film. It is the art and the animation is great. Some of the switches to 3D isn't all that great, but I'm not going to complain all that much. It is definitely my favorite Dragon Ball film, and it's probably my favorite. It's as I said, it's my favorite Dragon Ball film, and it's probably the best Dragon Ball film that we've gotten, in my opinion. In my opinion, I haven't seen every Dragon Ball film, um, apart from the Team Four Star versions. Um, but from what I've seen, Broly is definitely the best, in my opinion. And that is where we are going to leave this review. So yeah, if you've seen Dragon Ball Super Broly, which I know most of the people that watch my YouTube probably haven't, because they're not Dragon Ball fans, do let me know. And that is going to as I said, wrap this video up. So the next video will be the classic Doctor Who review that was picked by you. I don't know what that is as of recording this. I'm recording this on the 2nd of February, before that poll has even gone out, because for me, that's not going to go out until the end of February. So yeah, the next movie review, however, will be of Tropic Thunder. That will be next Monday's review. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I shall see you all on the next upload.